Alrighty. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Smudcast number 619, the gay history of Velma in Scooby-Doo. Now, I didn't know there was an entire history related to the Velma character in a children's show, which you would kind of not care, or even why that would be a thing back in was it the 70s, whenever this show came about? So it seems a bit odd to be talking about these things because it's not really relevant. You can do it as in passing. It's like, oh, that's strange. But again, kids these days don't really care. They care about having fun, crazy adventures. And I think the Scooby-Doo formula, in general comparison to, let's say, anime or manga or Saturday morning cartoons, probably doesn't make much sense. It probably isn't that entertaining, not as filled with adventure as it might have been back in the day. Now that we have all kinds of wonderful CGI and animated 3D shows for kids for all ages. So I don't know if the formula works anymore, and I don't think it really matters that she is this or that disposition towards males or females. I don't think this is part of the storyline. I don't think it ever came up. Any of the characters in Scooby-Doo
It was
were...
a show for kids, so sexuality is not part of the story.
Yeah, it's not even relevant to the plot. And the plot is always something like, oh, there's some rich dude and he's trying to like get some money or something out of the bank and he has to hide.
Yeah. Velma's character is about being the smart girl who's also compassionate.
And smart. Yeah, and just that's her thing. She just is the smart girl who's very observant. Shaggy's the scaredy cat with Scooby-Doo at times. He's sometimes brave, but he ends up falling down some stairs or, I don't know, hitting some blinds or something, and he gets caught up, and all of a sudden he's a ghost, and everyone gets scared of him, and oh no, it's so funny. Like, these are really lowbrow humor that kids, like really young kids, could grasp. That's why it's like, oh, okay, we get it. Scooby-Doo is a talking, grunting dog, and he has his friend, and they go on weird adventures together. And that's really it. There's nothing really special. There's nothing really amazing. And I think the biggest thing would be when it comes into live action. Like, that was like, wow, they made Scooby-Doo into live action. That's crazy. And maybe that was fun for some people. I didn't go see it, but I'm assuming there's an audience, or else they wouldn't have made it. So
the first two, at least the first couple by written by James Gunn, they're at least a guilty pleasure. They're definitely not good movies, but at least you can like look at them. It's like, oh yeah, that happened.
Right. So at the article, this is TheDailyBeast.com. It even says hot take at the top left. So I'm gonna let this slide. A lot of what this person says, who is Alani Vargas. I don't know, a freelance writer. Okay, good for her. The Daily Beast, I don't even watch, or I don't even pay attention to. But on the right-hand side, this look, Diane Keaton destroys her rom-com cred in cynical misfire. I'm begging MILF Manor to stop confusing MILFs and cougars.
What the fuck is this?
Let's ban Guess Who's Coming to Dinner stories in 2023. Now is the perfect time to watch Tar at
What
home.
What is this yellow press garbage site?
I don't know. So no one really watches or reads this content. I'm sure there's some video, but we don't know who these people are. They're making money. Good for them. There's clearly someone paying to, I don't know, ads. Maybe there are ads. I've blocked ads, so I don't know. On this site, there has to be ads. Why else?
Who wouldn't block ads?
Yeah, how else would this site survive without ads? Who knows? Anyway, let's get going. I'm going to be reading. You guys could read if you like, but I'm going to...
The first sentence is already dumb and wrong.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
The sapphic Scooby-Doo, where are you? Okay. Fans have recognized the iconic Scooby-Doo nerds' queerness forever. I didn't, honestly.
No, they didn't.
It just took until now for everyone else to openly embrace it, including the franchise itself.
There's no queerness. So, who projected that onto Velma? Like, horny lesbians or what?
The weirdos of the world, I guess.
All right, here we go. Imagine a world where you're a lesbian. Now imagine you're the only lesbian at a family function. And despite the fact that you don't hide your lesbianism, people keep asking about a future boyfriend or fail to remember who your long-term girlfriend is. So,
what?
Okay, you either have a bunch of family members who aren't listening to you or who just don't care and are trying to be friendly, or you're really bad at explaining that to people. That's how that makes sense.
Or if maybe she's not very convincing at it.
I know. Or you didn't bring her with you to your family function, which you probably should, because that's what you do at family functions. So
you show them off.
Yeah, you say, hey, this is my amazing girlfriend, and she's gorgeous and smart and da-da-da-da. You're like, oh, that's wonderful, because most family members, unless they're really strict or very orthodox, this or that, be like, oh, wonderful, that's fantastic. I'm glad you're happy. So I can't fathom this unless, again, you're in some sort of very, very conservative country where this sort of thing is frowned upon. Who knows? I don't know. Frustrating, I know. But that's kind of what happened to Scooby-Doo's Velma Dinkley. When did that happen? I don't recall. Except instead of a family function,
never.
Decades of TV and movies. And instead of forgetful family members, Velma had studio execs distancing themselves from the fact that she's been purposely queer-coded for years. Now,
no, she isn't. In what way is she queer-coded? If you use this coded bullshit, which is stereotyping, she's a nerd. Nerds are not automatically queer.
Yeah.
Nerds are also not automatically gay. Autists are not automatically gay. They try to pin this now. They try to claim now that 80% of all autists are LGBT and random letters after that. No, they're not. It's just they're just impressionable, and these assholes are trying to groom is the right word. Yeah, they're trying to groom vulnerable people, and they're pushing this onto a character, onto a cartoon character.
Yeah, that is most likely older than the vast majority of people claiming this. And right. All this is so much conflation that it's kind of hard to keep up at this point.
Yeah, I think
it's what the pattern I've noticed seems to be that everything that seems to look anything nerdy, these rainbow fascists try to claim as their property. And Velma, being a nerd, looking like a nerd, thus they need to have her.
Yeah, I was covering that video from Ed Nightingale. I posted a few days ago. He used the term gay-coded for kanji, and I was like, that's not really a thing. But I'm like, okay, maybe people use that term. Maybe it's understood. I think I understand that there are notes or nuances to his character which made him appear homosexual, of course, because we had a physical representation.
They just invented the gay-coded terminology, or whatever coded, in order to allow stereotyping, judging people as or by stereotypes. Because before that, they demonized stereotyping, but they still want to stereotype others for their personal gain, so they invented this new word that means the same as stereotyping.
Because the word gay, queer, lesbian, those are good things, so they have to invent some new prefix, coded, or whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, so gay stereotyping is bad, but gay coding is good.
Right,
although
exactly.
It's the exact same thing.
Right. So I thought this was not a term that people use, but if some people know what that means, I said, okay. So I actually cut out that part of my video.
No, don't people don't know what it means. Only the leftist madmen know what it means.
Well, when I think of,
because they keep inventing this newspeak all the time.
When I think of nuance, I think of like, well, this whiskey has notes of oak and cherries and whatever. So it's like something you could identify in a very subtle way, which is kind of the same idea they're trying to explain here. The difference is we're talking about a character that goes back 60, 70 years. I have no idea how old she is. And
let me double check.
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but it's a kid's show. This should never even be appearing in your mind. Does Velma have a girlfriend? It's like, I don't care.
As kids, none of us thought that Shaggy might be doing drugs. Although he clearly looks like a junkie.
He looks like the stoner archetype. Yeah, exactly. But it's not.
Yeah, but as kids, we don't think about that, just as we don't think about the sexuality of characters.
Pretty much, yeah.
September of 1969. That's how old Scooby-Doo as a whole is.
Wow.
Oh, man. So, Velma's getting old.
50.
She's a grandma now.
This franchise is 54.
All right,
Velma, how are your grandkids?
let's keep going.
Probably won't show them either at the family reunion.
Yes, Velma is a cartoon character whose roots date back to 1969 in the original Hanna-Barbera Scooby-Doo series, but even the 1970s were no match for her inherent sapphic nature, like knowing what Daphne's moans sound like.
What?
There's a Twitter post to, I don't know who, but I'm not going to go to it. Apparently someone is analyzing her sounds when she gets scared or whatever.
Velma just knows everything.
Yeah, subtle lines like that, or the fact that Velma never really had a long-lasting love interest, are what got and has kept the lesbian headcanons rolling. So they're admitting...
Oh, so by that logic, Shaggy is gay.
Yeah, they're admitting it's headcanon. And I don't need to explain to you what headcanon is. That's the bane.
Then we're done. Then the article's over.
Yeah, no, if other people think this is headcanon, then that's all fan fiction crap, and that's fine. Go for it. Enjoy your fanfic.
And then there's the next one.
That also means that the executives never needed to distance themselves from anything because there was nothing. It was just lesbian headcanon.
So here's the next line. If we can't get gay representation, we'll create it, and that especially goes for lesbians.
So you're just control freaks. You're spiteful, jealous control freaks.
So the link here says, it's on the Daily Beast as well, House of the Dragon fans want Rhaenyra and Alicent to be queer. Good for the fans. That's not in the story.
Yeah, and this right here is the whole problem we've been seeing for years now. The fact that it's like literally it says right there, if we can't get it, we'll make it, we'll create it. I'm just like, yeah, that's the whole problem.
It means they're robber barons.
All right, here's the next article.
They just steal shit that isn't theirs. And say that, oh, we're reclaiming it. No, you're not reclaiming it. In order to reclaim something, you have to have had it in the first place. The only people who can reclaim anything are we, whom you are stealing from.
So here's the next article. I'm not going to go to that, but it says, gay raunchy Velma finally turns Scooby-Doo upside down. So let's just... Before we continue, I'm just going to pull up the Rotten Tomatoes score because it's kind of funny.
It turned Scooby-Doo upside down, all right, starting with not having the dog in the first place.
So, here's season 1 of Velma. The critics, 32 critics, are giving it a 44%, which is not good. And the almost 10,000 user ratings give it a 6. A single digit.
You want to know how you can immediately tell... you want to know how easily you can tell someone that Velma is that bad? Velma's rating is so... Velma's reception is so damn low, this show beat Dragon Ball Evolution on IMDb. It's that bad in terms of adaptations of big properties. It for the longest time, Dragon Ball Evolution was, if I remember correctly, the lowest rated adaptation of a big franchise on IMDb, and Velma beat it.
Oh, speaking of low-rated adaptations, have you heard the news about Cowboy Bebop and Watanabe?
Yes, I read the article.
I didn't. Basically, can you give me a long story short version?
Sure. Watanabe watched or tried watching the first episode of, I think there's a first scene, and he had to put it down. He just could not get through. It was that
of
bad.
his own show, or of his own version, or the original?
No, the adaptation.
The Netflix.
Where Spike walks into the casino.
Yeah, the Netflix was not his.
Oh, yeah, I got it mixed up. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. So it's Japan is known, or the creators of Japan are known for not agreeing with not only American or Hollywood directors, but just other people outside of their clique, because they know what they're doing, they know their studio, they know their people.
Dragon Ball is in the state it's in right now because the people behind Dragon Ball Evolution left Toriyama in the dark about what they're doing.
And that's why
what they were doing.
That's why he made Super.
The general people, the general audience in the West is not agreeing with what Hollywood is doing.
Yeah.
We don't like the adaptations.
So let's just read some of these responses from some of the fans, or some of the the non-critics. Poorly written, there's no jokes, just references and attempts at references. Absolutely no likable characters, completely unwatchable. Mainly just unfunny and rough. If I wanted to torture someone, I'd make them watch the show. Yeah, so this is just a bad show. Forget it being a fun kids show about weird adventures in a school setting. It's just a bad show, period. Anyway, let's continue.
I don't think this can be a kids show from what I've seen.
If they're talking about lesbians and this and that, I seen some stuff on Twitter last week, and I was like, that's not for kids. That's definitely not for kids.
This was never going to be for kids. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well. But Velma being gay isn't just something in queer people's minds. Wait a second.
Yes, it is.
Why can't it be in straight people's minds? Why can't I have the thought that she's gay?
But because she said the lesbians made it up.
Yeah, I know, but if there's something in the story that precludes that, then why can't anyone figure that out? It's not hard. It's a kids' show. It should be fairly easy. In addition to her funny comments in the 70s, creators have been trying to portray Velma as openly gay for decades. Okay.
Wrong.
Yeah, I'm trying to... Let's see what she has to say. Take the hit live-action Scooby-Doo movie, for instance. Released in 2002, it starred a stacked cast of actors. James Gunn, who wrote the script, has been open about the fact that he originally wrote the movie for adults and that one key part of the original script included Velma being a lesbian.
This is true, yes.
Well, it's James Gunn, so I can understand the depravity.
Yeah, but he
that
wasn't allowed to do
that.
Right, so he wasn't allowed to do that. James, like a lot of things get cut from a script, obviously, and directors are known for like, we can't do this, do it this way, yada. So
a similar situation happened with the first Spider-Man movie, where the one that did it for that one, it's like in that case it was James Cameron writing a treatment to make that movie R-rated, and I think the specific thing that did it for that one was, I think, well, aside from legal stuff behind the scenes, in terms of the actual script, the thing that got that one like canned, like it did, like the lesbian thing did for here, is that in Cameron's version of the Spider-Man movie, I think it was Peter and MJ were going to have a sex scene between the two towers.
Oh dear.
I was like, really? Really, James? Are you going?
Okay. Anyway, in 2020, a fan on Twitter urged Gunn to make the third Scooby-Doo movie, this time featuring a queer Velma. According to IndieWire, the filmmaker tweeted back that he tried to do this once before in 2001. Velma was explicitly gay in my initial script, he wrote in a now deleted reply. Oh, deleted reply. But the studio just kept watering it down, becoming ambiguous. The version shot, then nothing, the release version, and finally having a boyfriend, the sequel.
Fun fact, the boyfriend in question was played by Seth Green, of all people.
Oh, really?
Yes. I have seen both of those movies from beginning to end. I'm just like I said before, it's like they are clearly bad movies, but it's at least a guilty pleasure. It's like, hey, these happened.
Yeah. And that's fine. You can enjoy bad movies because they're bad or they're fun and silly and goofy. That's totally fine.
I've mentioned before that I'm one of those people that can go back and play the god awful Shadow the Hedgehog game, but I can look back at it and laugh at it for how over the top it is.
Right.
Yeah. But a sex crazed weirdo like James Gunn trying to push this stuff into characters that didn't have these traits,
yeah, and
is not a surprise to me.
And even if,
that doesn't justify it as being correct, because it was cut from the thing again.
Yeah,
so it's not there.
Even if she had a girlfriend in the sequel, it'd be like, okay, who's this for? Like, is this a story about relationships, or is it about adventure, fun, kids stuff, goofy, scary adventures?
Well, at least the first movie was about, like, in the beginning, it's like they split up after a petty squabble, and then that first movie's about like them like reconciling and getting back together, becoming the mystery gang again.
Right. Okay, so despite casting Seth Green as a love interest for Cardellini's Velma, 2004's Scooby-Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, also featured a faintly homoerotic energy between Daphne and Velma.
Wrong.
It was a tension that... Okay, I got to see this scene, whatever she's talking about. It was a tension that young sapphics know well, common teenage feelings for close female friends before realizing they're gay.
No.
I do not.
Bullshit.
There is none of this is in that movie.
All of this is lesbian fetishization and projection. They see this. Remember Noralities when we covered her garbage?
I try not.
She was seeing gay characters and gay relationships everywhere, and when they're not there, this is just delusion. This is obsession. This is fetishism. Nothing else.
All right.
Still remember
projecting
that.
their own bullshit onto things that simply aren't there in order to wank off to it.
I still remember the Devil May Cry video.
Oh dear, no. I forgot. I forgot.
The moment Smud heard innuendo, it's like, no, we're done.
Think of it that whoever even reads this article most likely didn't see these movies. So you just read this and then would go, okay, that's probably true, because why else would it be on a news site?
Here is a donation I forgot to read. Here's the Sex Defender Registry. Thanks for the donation. Mindy Mailing's career makes me pray that Britain recolonizes India. The show wants me to believe a 6-foot-tall black guy could simp over a dumpy Indian chick. No. Also, Shaggy originally basically had Snatch fired at him from a cannon. He has unspoken riz? Unspoken riz.
Oh, fuck.
I am not hip to your lingo, sir, but thank you for sharing, I guess.
Yes.
I think I know what he's trying to say, and I'm like, that doesn't quite make sense to me. But anyway. Okay. Let me just keep going. But going back to the first movie, you can still spot possible hints Gunn was able to leave in the script, but not the final cut, to Velma's queerness. Okay, now she's reading into this. One deleted scene shows Velma drunk on some non-alcoholic drinks at a Spooky Island bar, singing a rendition of Can't Take My Eyes Off You by Frankie Valli. Her moment as a cabaret singer starts when she spots Daphne coming down the stairs. Granted, Fred was coming down at the same time too, but considering Gunn intended for Velma to be explicitly gay, it's easy to imagine that drunk Velma was in her feels about an unrequited crush on Daphne Blake.
Yeah, but alcohol does stupid things to you.
Non-alcoholic, so she was just...
What
do you call
the
this?
atmosphere?
No, there's... Although it's an implication that she is super alcoholic if she gets drunk by just believing she drank alcohol.
The sugar rush drives her crazy.
She's going to be a horrible wine mom.
Yeah, I've seen girls at bars do sambuca shots and go crazy, tequila shots and go crazy.
And it's not because of they can't take the alcohol. It's it's a thought process.
Yeah.
Of I drank alcohol, therefore I am now considered to be unhinged. Therefore I can be unhinged. Therefore I can let loose all my inhibitions and go all crazy.
Yeah.
It's more of a ritualistic thing, or for an excuse to behave out of order instead of behaving out of order because you're drunk.
Yeah, you should never equate alcohol with energy. It's the opposite. It saps your energy. It's a diuretic. You calm down when you have alcohol. That's why we always say, have a beer, have a glass of wine, reflect, chill out, just relax. For women doing that, it's probably because they're out going, oh, this is so delicious. I've never had this before. I'm having such a good time. Oh, I'm with all my friends. We're dancing together. I love this song. It's like, okay, whoa, slow down. You're a girl and you're getting your inhibitions out. That's all that's happening.
Before we move on from live action Velma here, this actress has, for point of reference, this actress has also not only played Wendy from Gravity Falls, but also Hawkeye's wife in the MCU.
Interesting.
So yeah. That weirded me out the first time I found that. I was like, oh yeah, it is the same person. What the fuck?
All right,
but anyway.
let's continue. That was over 20 years ago, and since then we've met another even gayer iteration of Velma, Tony Cervone. The co-creator of the 2010 cartoon Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated wrote in June 2020 post that his team wrote Velma as gay. We made our intentions as clear as we could 10 years ago, the post reads. Okay.
I doubt that very much. That's not what it came off as actually watching the show.
Yeah, see, this is where I'm like, okay, where in the show does she have sexual feelings? Like, where does that, how is that expressed? Did you say, wow, I really wish I could date this girl? Is it an off-the-cuff remark? Is she getting aroused looking at other females?
And how is that then still for kids?
Well, that's a problem, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. That's not in there.
Yeah, and if it was, parents would be like, what the hell am I watching? I'm not going to pay for this anymore. I'm canceling my subscription. I'm, preventing my kids from watching the show, whatever the case may be. So.
Well, I argue that it's not for kids, not because of this statement, because it's not true, because I've seen the show, but I do want to clarify, this is actually one of the best Scooby-Doo shows out there, and it is one of the darkest.
Oh, really?
And it gets darker as the show goes on. Basically, all those like direct-to-video movies of what if the monsters were real? This Mystery Incorporated is that as a whole show.
Nice.
Okay.
And
It's not people in masks?
They actually make a joke about that early on. Well, they make a joke about it early on with a museum full of a whole bunch of like classic monster costumes, including the Luna Ghost from the first live action movie. They actually make a joke about it. The general formula of most of the show is the classic guy in a mask thing, but they slowly start like introducing like the actual like real like supernatural paranormal stuff, and they keep like ratcheting up the intensity on that until it like reaches the boiling point at the end of the show.
Oh, nice. So actual mystery.
There you go.
Yes, and from both sides, both the person in the mask and the what if it was real, which in this show, yes, it is very real, and it's like, oh god, they went all out.
Okay. I'll keep a note on that.
All right. In this series, Velma has a close friend named Marcy, who many fans shipped her with, even though they aren't outwardly together on the show. Most of our fans got it. What? They aren't outwardly together, but most of our fans got it. To those that didn't, I suggest you look close. Oh, yeah. Guys, I'm really brilliant. Look at my amazing work where you can't really see the thing I'm trying to make you see, which is so obvious to me.
These fetishists are worse than tinfoil conspiracy hats about aliens in the pyramid.
This is like the chef.
Again, to Wisp's point earlier about it, it's like anyone that knows a damn thing about this can say for a fact that this is not in there. Yeah. I know for a fact that for the movie and for that first movie and for this show, that none of that is in there.
This is like
it's not.
Can we get memes with the guy at the maps with all the strings and he's frantically explaining, and this is why they're gay.
This is like the
Charlie Day meme. Yeah,
the pretentious chef with the overpriced restaurant. He's, can you taste the nuance of the vanilla bean I put into your? It's like, no, dude, what the hell are you talking about?
Actually, Wisp, you mentioned that meme, and that guy's actually playing Luigi in the next Mario movie.
Mamma mia!
Oh boy.
Yeah, if he's playing Luigi, I'm just like, and it fits. That's all I'm gonna say.
The movie
that's okay. I just wish the Mario voice actor had more energy.
It's Chris Pratt. What do you expect?
Was actually from Italy.
More energy.
Yeah, but at least we did get a little bit of Charlie Day as Luigi, and it actually does fit.
All right. To those that didn't,
unlike Pratt,
I suggest you look closer. There's no new news here, and according to screenshots from Out Magazine, before Cervone turned his comments off, he replied to a user clarifying that Velma is not bi. She's gay. That's why she couldn't sustain her romantic relationship with Shaggy, which Velma said always felt off to her in the series. Wait a second.
Well, it's because in the shows, like they have a lot more time dedicated to having Scooby and Shaggy hang out a lot more, with Shaggy being oblivious to the fact that she's into him.
But Velma is saying, or in the show, Velma does have a relationship with Shaggy, but
tries to.
But Cervone says she's not bi. And like, wait, what?
No, well, yeah. Now we're going buy into this. Okay, what?
Yeah, but if he's
No.
if he's saying she's homosexual, but the show shows us that she's trying to have a heterosexual relationship, then she's either heterosexual because the show is showing us, or she's bi. She can't be gay.
Look, the fetishist will just say, "Oh, she was just questioning."
Well, okay. The scene where she's dating a guy, she's really gay.
She was just hetero-curious.
Oh God.
By the way, I have never ever seen or heard anyone use that term before, but I'm pretty sure they will use it at some point. I just invented it, so I trademark it. I call dibs.
Oh dear. Anyway, let's keep going. That whole journey toward our okay, this is a weird sentence. That whole journey toward open queerness culminates in Velma Dinkley being undoubtedly gay in October 2022's Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo, a 75-minute Halloween special. When Velma first locks eyes on Coco Diablo, she stutters and shuts down, leaving only blushing cheeks and fogged-up glasses in her wake. Velma admits to Daphne later on that she's crushing big time. Okay, girls can crush on girls. That doesn't make them gay. That's fine. There's no queer coding needed here. In this film, Velma Dinkley is a big old lesbian, which is only solidified by her paralyzing fear about what to do with a new crush. Okay, so there's plenty of girls I've seen are infatuated with other girls, with famous models or what have you, and they go, "Wow, she's beautiful. I love her." Da, da, da. That's not necessarily sexual. Okay. Women can appreciate other women for being beautiful and sexual and not actually be attracted to them sexually.
You can interpret that scene differently as well, because she is seeing a fellow nerd with turtleneck, glasses, and who's highly intelligent. Which means that this nerd, who likes turtlenecks and has big glasses, finally has someone she can talk on one level with. Like, I found my best friend forever.
Yeah, and right here in the article is a tweet with a clip of the exact moment that the article's talking about.
I think we could play that without getting copyright. Let's try it.
13 seconds?
Yeah, may as well.
And as promised, here are your Scooby Snacks. Jinkies.
Just literally looking at her like it's like friggin' the things popping up like RPG stats. I'm just like, okay.
It was what I've been saying. You can interpret this innocently as well. Like, I found my soulmate.
I found my ideal version of myself or something.
Yeah, someone.
My ideal friend.
And most importantly, someone as intelligent as she is, so she can actually have a brain-tickling conversation, which is something that is very hard to find for intelligent people.
Right. All right, let's keep going.
So you will always cherish such a person. Of course, you can also put your fetishism in this.
Yeah. This wasn't shocking to the many fans who had long thought of Velma as a lesbian, although it was very much appreciated and celebrated. That is especially true for the actresses who had the chance to embody Velma in recent years. A month after the Halloween special's release, Linda Cardellini praised the character development in an Entertainment Weekly interview. It was great that it's finally out there, she said, noting that Velma's lesbianism had been hinted at so many times. I didn't see it, and this article didn't show me. That's the only time you could say that Velma visually got aroused looking at a cat and her three elements that happen to be part of a female.
These people are obsessed.
It's interesting. Here we go. Lesbian Jesus herself, singer actress Haley Kiyoko. I don't know.
Lesbian Jesus? What?
I don't know who Haley Kiyoko is. I'll check that out later. Also praised Velma's overdue coming out moment in several tweets. Kiyoko reminisced about her time voicing Velma back in 2009 and 10. I remember booking the voice role of Velma in 2008. It was my first big role in a movie. She tweeted in October in response to the reveal that Velma was now out. I also remember thinking, I wonder if they know they hired a lesbian as Velma. Here we are 14 years later. Just because you hire someone...
Your sexuality,
your
sexual orientation has nothing to do with the characters you play.
Do
you know what acting means?
Oh yeah, she was the second live-action Velma, like for the Cartoon Network movies.
I remember Stephen Fry talking about his sexuality. It's irrelevant. Some of his best friends, who are also homosexual, they'd feel totally comfortable with them taking care of his kids or this. Like it's completely not an issue professionally, and nor should it be. That's a creepy, weird thing. Oh, we need a lesbian actress to play the role of Velma. It's like, no, we don't. You really don't. And nor should there.
You just need a good actor.
Yeah, like remember the I'm trying to think of like Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy in the Harley Quinn series. That is a comedy. That is almost a farce at times. And they could do whatever the hell they want with the character. Harley Quinn's a crazy person who kills people, and the show is primarily a comedy anyway. People die in the show off camera. That's fine. Who cares? Do it. It's a farce. You're not supposed to take it seriously. So have her turn into a dragon for all I care. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. There's a relatively good series about an autistic kid family that deals with that, and they have actual autists advising the show, and they play very, very background characters that appear sometimes. But they just have a few lines, a few scenes in the entire show. But the main character, the autistic boy, is played by an actor who is himself not autistic, but plays it really well. So you don't need to be the thing that you're portraying, and the thing that you are doesn't need to be part of the character that you portray. I cannot believe we live in a time where we have to explain this about acting, but this is because these activists have made it in their narcissism that only people who have certain conditions are allowed to play characters with those conditions. And if you, as the actor, have certain conditions, then somehow that means that the characters you play now also have them. It's a really weird game of cool.
I mean, a major example I'm thinking of right now is the fact that, I mean, obviously, we all know that Kevin Conroy is basically the actor to best portray Batman, I dare say, ever. And he was gay, but almost no one, well, most people didn't know he was gay, but whether we knew or not, that didn't matter, because what mattered was the performance, as it should for everything.
Yeah, I don't think he
ever... Even with that, we can still look back and say that he was the best actor to ever voice that character. And a lot of us, pretty much everyone, is still going to stand by that despite that revelation.
Yeah, his personal life is pretty much irrelevant to his professional life, and that's what professionals do. They don't combine the two. Obviously, he loved the role. I could see when he performed and how much it meant to him. But he doesn't.
It was his first ever voice role, I should add.
Really? Okay. Well, he did a bang-up job, and he's known for that voice, for being the Batman. And not once did I remember him bringing up, yeah, I'm homosexual, here's my partner. Like, no one, like, that never came up in interviews that I can think of.
He did like write a book about it, I think, but other than that, it was never really relevant.
Yeah, doing a biopic or whatever is totally fine, but this is a thing that is personal. You shouldn't be bringing it up anyway. But this person, Kyoko, let's just hear what she has to say further on. Kyoko also went on to tweet that I feel alive and seen, which is like, oh, I'm being represented by this fictional character that happens to possibly be homosexual, even though she's not depicted yet as homosexual on the screen.
This is an admission of narcissism right here.
Whenever I hear the term "I'm being seen,"
who the fuck cares? You're fucking. You are an actor. Nobody should give a shit about your private life, except of course the yellow press that makes money off of that.
I'm trying to think.
People are so interested in what in the product.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. Imagine there was a I don't know, a lesbian sex scene, would she say, "Oh, I feel seen because I'm literally having sex or depicting of sex in, I don't know, maybe a Game of Thrones scene or something like that"? You think an actor would be proud of that? Look at my amazing breasts as I make out with this other female, and whatever the condition may be, an adult scenario. Do you think that matters to them?
I mean, if their mind is far gone enough.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, look at the nude scenes in Game of Thrones. They got a lot of attention because, oh my God, your actors are nude, but they're okay with that. It's just acting to them.
The question is, why do people need to know what you do in the bedroom?
Why do you have to share that information with us?
Why do you? Yeah, why do you need to feel seen about that? Are you some? What's the opposite of a voyeur? An exhibitionist?
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Why do you need to be an exhibitionist about your bedroom actions?
I was going to say
extroverted. I think.
I was going to say there's surveillance and surveillance, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. Yeah. No, this is irrelevant. No one cares Kevin Conroy was gay, and if you do, there's something wrong with you. That's none of your business. He was an amazing actor, and that's how he's going to be remembered. Not that he had a lover that was a male. That's irrelevant.
Yeah. And we get a pedophile ad.
Oh God, yeah. The radical joy of what do you have? I have the radical joy of love songs for queer kids.
No, moving on.
That you couldn't write pedophilia in bigger words.
Okay. Here is Kyle Rocket. Thank you for the super chat there, sir. Doesn't Velma and Shaggy have a kid in the comics? Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know. I'm not paying attention. I would have to go to TV Tropes and maybe do a search on the
again. Yeah. Again, I'm pretty sure. Again, to go back to Mr. Incorporated for that to go on that point, I'm pretty sure that was the first major Scooby-Doo thing. At least in recent memory, that really tried to push the Shaggy Velma relationship, but in that case, they took it in the direction of a will they won't they, because they purposely put Scooby-Doo as the middleman between them, or middle dog. I don't know.
All right, here's where we get into the more ego and more virtue signaling. I know it sounds
as the wedge between them. That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Lost the word there.
So in all of these articles, there's always some sort of glorification of the minority. Oh, they need to be represented. Oh, it's such a good thing. It's like, why? And here we find out why. And that right there is probably the best and most succinct description of why Velma's queerness being confirmed is such a big deal. The topic of why representation matters is a routine conversation at this point. But marginalized communities continue to talk about it, because it is such a validating experience to see yourself on screen. Okay, I want to know.
Yes, narcissism. Perpetuating the lie.
It's just narcissism. It's just about the self-aggrandizement.
Yeah, in what?
Oh, it's so awesome to see myself. I'm getting wet. Oh, yeah, I love looking at myself in the mirror. This is the classic image of narcissism, not even the modern understanding of psychology.
You might have some sort of pushback between your conservative parents or older people or what have you, but you live in this person lives in a very affluent first world city, lots of access to technology and the internet. There is a group out there for everyone where you can talk about how gay you are till you're blue in the face, and they'll say, yeah, more power to you. It's not hard to find that. So what is this?
We need to do more survival shows with groups of only women on islands and don't give them support from the staff.
No
and
positive
just watch the show and just see them all grow up or die.
Kill each other pretty much.
No, it's more like a survival show where it's the competitors are people from Twitter.
Oh, they won't kill each other. They will just die through sheer starvation and what is it, thirst, because they just rather sunbath on the beach instead of getting water and food.
This is the rest of the paragraph which I want to get at. It's significant to see your sexuality, specifically portrayed as normal and sweet because that's exactly what it is, just like straight crushes are on screen. Velma represented that awkward girl who doesn't fit in but never tries too hard to do so either. Okay, for a kid's show, which isn't about relationships or specifically sexual relationships or romantic relationships, this is irrelevant. It's not about that. It never was. You injecting this, putting this into the narrative, it could be anything. It doesn't matter if it's relationships. It doesn't matter if it's giant Godzilla monsters fighting each other, space aliens, although that might actually happen in a Scooby-Doo. You might have some space aliens come in for like 10 seconds and then they disappear as a little ha-ha at the end of a show. You might get those silly things, but it's for comedic reasons. It's not for, she's gay and everyone accepts it. It's not a big deal. That's wasting our time. That's not why we're here. It's fine in other shows. Do it in another show. Make your own show about a bunch of lesbians solving haunted houses crimes or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, but therein lies the problem. The fact that these are completely stunted, uncreative people that got to piggyback off of big IPs so you can sell.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it still doesn't sell.
If they could just make their own story and say, hey, here's my lesbian detective story. Great. See if it works. And I'm going to tell you, it probably won't because that's a dumb premise for a detective story.
Yeah, but they need their emotional shield, Smud.
They need to feel as if they have shows for kids that show off teenaged sexual desire for homosexuals for whatever reason. I don't get that. Like, why is that part of the plot? Is Velma going to need her female emotions of sexuality to females to solve a crime? Okay. Maybe there's a story you can write around that. That's possible. It's a very strange story, especially for kids, but you could do it. It's not going to work very well. That'll be so contrived and a little forced, a little ham-fisted there, but you could write that.
Of course it's possible to create some kind of good story out of this. I mean, again, another Batman example for this point. The original concept for Batman Beyond was just young Bruce Wayne, which literally everyone knew was a bad idea, especially Bruce Timm. So he took that bad idea and essentially made a workaround for it to introducing a new character, Terry McGinnis.
In the future, where tech is different. It's great.
Yeah, and then he made Batman Beyond. Out of such a bad idea, he made something that good out of it.
That's called being creative. That's what you do in storytelling.
But right there's the key word, creative. These people that are making this shit are so creatively stunted and so obsessed with their fetishes that they're not gonna do anything that good.
Right, and you
ever.
All the creativity, in quotation marks, creativity, consists of is putting versions of themselves into the medium and writing fan fiction for that.
Well, see, that's the thing. You can use whatever nuance. If these people want to be nuanced, which is I think you should do that in writing anyway. When you watch the real Ghostbusters by J. Michael Straczynski, there is so much.
That was Straczynski?
That was Straczynski.
My God, wow.
When you watch the show, he has these I said this years ago, he has these very complicated sexual words that you've never heard of before, and Egon Spengler says them. So it's like, okay, he's a very technical guy. And he's talking about, I don't know, some bizarre Victorian word that no one knows. And it's purely sexual. And all the directors are like, oh, the producer, that's cool. It's Egon doing the Egon thing. No, this is sex. And it's just said as a throwaway line at the end of...
Yeah, but it works because he's an intellectual.
Yeah.
And he can get away with it that way. And we actually get to see that is how you make seeing a side of a character that we haven't seen before good and interesting, because you still need special knowledge to even understand what's going on.
Yeah, and the story of that show went bad into season 2, but the first season is where it's all at, and it's so nuanced and so quick. You're like, what did he say? And it's like, oh, you're going back to comedy, so it's no big deal. That's how you do it. You do a brilliant creative thing that catches you off guard, like a flash in the pan, a bright light. You're like, whoa. And then you go back to the main plot. So you can do these things. You could have your ambiguously gay guy. You could have your your adult comedy language, like you have in The Simpsons or The Family Guy. Well, The Family Guy is not a great example because it's kind of on the nose too much. But that's what I mean. You can do that while say this is a show for a certain demographic while also appealing to adults with whatever fetish they've got. It doesn't really matter what their fetish. I don't really care. But you can do that. This is not how you do it. You do not just have them, whatever. I don't even know what happens in the show. And you especially do not have people like this saying, well, you need to represent people in kids' stories from the 60s. You're like,
No.
Why? Why would you
Everybody
do that?
needs to be gay now. We need 50% gay people in everything.
Yeah.
If that was the actual composition of the human species, we would be extinct.
Okay. Let's get
The amount of gay people we have on screen at this point, something doesn't work right.
All right, let's get to
Believe me, we're getting there though.
Let's get to super chat and a donation. Here's the Copperell. Hey Copperell, how's it going? Speak of the devil. Got notified when I was talking Scooby lore with a friend. Of course, you know what we're talking about. Velma dated Johnny Bravo in promotional commercials. That's straight. Really, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Oh yes, right. Yeah. It's the jock who gets with the naughty girl.
The jock who can't get a date. He's kind of funny if you guys ever watch Johnny Bravo. He's always
Johnny Bravo's one of the best cartoons ever made.
super machismo, but always gets shut down. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right, here's the.
I don't know why feminists don't like Johnny Bravo. He's everything they should love about a sexist man getting dunked on.
Yeah. Here is the Nerd Reich. Hey, thank you, Nerd. Velma and many other modern remakes of classic cartoons, they feel like if your little sister got mad that you took the remote out of her hands one too many times, got a job, and then made everyone gay or a woman to try to own you. It's the vibe I get. Oh, okay. I wish I watched these shows to know what the hell's going on, but the nuances are lost on these people, or the nuances in present. They want it literally in your face. You got to see the kissing, like the same with Kanji in Persona 4. Oh, his shadow self is outrageously gay, therefore he secretly wants to be gay. It's like, no. That's not the message of the game at all. Everyone has to accept their shadow selves in whatever way they want. It doesn't have to be, oh, I'm now going to be flamboyantly gay in public in bathhouses because girls are cruel. Like, what? Anyway. Outside of a few big exceptions like the leather orange jumpsuit from Monsters Unleashed that awakened many people's sexualities?
How?
The leather orange jumpsuit.
It's red, not orange.
Velma is fine living in her weirdness of being the girl with a nasally, nerdy voice, big sweater, and glasses. She never felt right dating men, but she, of course...
She's now repeating herself in the article by reinforcing what she said before as assumptions or interpretations, and now she's repeating the same things as facts.
Right.
This is how she tries to brainwash you.
But she, of course, craved some level of male validation. What? Lesbians, old and young, still deal with that too.
That sounds strange. I've never heard that before. And if you really do, are you sure you're lesbian?
Yeah, if I was a homosexual, do I need women to tell me, like, hey, good for you, you're a homosexual? Like, no, I don't. Why would I want that? What does that do for me? I don't need an ego rub to know something I know intrinsically about myself. That's like saying I like the color red. Hey, you like the color red, dude. You're awesome. It's like, thanks. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, this just tells me it's about attention and external validation, which is emotionally immature and narcissistic.
Yeah, this feels like you're going to a party and you don't know anyone, but you really want someone to come to you out of the blue and say, hey, I'm whatever. Let's go have a drink or whatever. Like, you want to feel welcome. That's all this is. Oh, you like the old thing from the 70s that no one really watched, but there's a gay person and I'm gay, so I can relate now. It's like, what? They're not. What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm not a damsel in distress, but I would really like if someone would approach me and talk to me without me having to make the first step.
It's like they're lonely or something and they want to talk about this bizarre fetish that has nothing
And that's
to
why
do.
they get cats and wine. And sometimes dogs.
Okay. Lesbians, old and young, still deal with that too, but under it all, she was just a lesbian who wasn't given the footing she needed to come out. In the 70s, are you sure about that? With lesbians and queer people clinging to Velma's queer-coded character for decades.
She's not... explain to me the coding, please.
Orange sweaters? Bob haircuts?
No.
I don't get it.
This is the fashion of the time.
Yeah, her coming out was a dream come true for headcanoners everywhere. So she's admitting this is all in her head. This is not real.
Yeah, this is just the fetishists pushing for this, and then eventually getting a hold of it by getting into the industry and then rewriting the character.
All right,
this is horrible.
But Velma's significant, long-awaited coming out came with unsurprising backlash, as we showed before. The people who... We can go through a whole bunch of reviews.
Because you're pushing your headcanon onto us.
Yeah, the reviews are saying it's not because she's gay, it's because the show sucks. And this thing where she's kissing with girls or whatever is dumb. It's not because the show is amazing and all of a sudden she kisses girls. It's like, that wouldn't really... That'd be like, that's weird. But it wouldn't be like, oh... darn, the whole show sucks now because she's kissing girls. That would be just a strange thing. Like, I don't know if like on Babylon 5, if Sharon just blew up a transport ship at the end because he felt like it. You're like, what? You just saved a bunch of Vorlons. Like, what? Just blow up a transport ship. Like, why would that? It would make sense. The lore.
Why would there be Vorlons on a transport ship?
Because he's fighting the shadows, so it'd be like, why would he fight against the people?
Why would there be Vorlons on a transport?
I'm making the example of the good guys.
It makes no sense.
Well, that's what I mean.
Vorlons would never be on a transport ship.
It would make no sense. You'd be like, what the hell's happening? The Laura Ingrams of the world blew up about Velma's queerness. The Laura Ingrams. Disrupting beloved characters as the hosts of the Young Turks podcast. Oh, my God. Put well in a recent episode. I guess she watches the Young Turks. Whoever watches the Young Turks, I mean... There are probably...
The Young Turks make sensible points now?
I don't know, but there are probably better left-leaning podcasts out there. Young Turks is not one of them, sadly.
Well, they are, since California has power outages, and the Young Turks finally feel the repercussions of their stupid politics. They're starting to be pissed at the Democrats for not ever getting anything right.
Oh, so...
Yet they were calling for these policies themselves.
You're saying they can't make money because there's no power to film a podcast, so they...
Yes, and now they hate the Democrats.
Oh my... You interfere with someone's livelihood. Gee, I wonder if people are going to get pissed off. Wow, where have I heard that before?
They called for the policies, now they're hit by the policies, now they hate the policies because they're not done right. It's not real communism.
And then there's Microsoft turning people's Xboxes off to save the planet.
Oh my God, what?
You didn't know about that?
What does that mean?
That is why always online hardware is bad.
Yes.
I never heard that, but
it's literally turning people's Xboxes off to cut on like electricity usage or something.
Is that like when Windows has like a 5-hour delay when you're not using the machine, it just turns itself off normally?
No, it's like that. No, they directly go to people's Xboxes and just shut them off.
Wow.
Having root access backdoors is not good.
Yeah. All right. Apparently, there's no innocence left in the world with this newest check mark in the gay agenda.
Agenda in quotation marks. Like she's trying to portray this still as that the agenda that they openly proclaim that it is that they have this agenda. She still tries to portray it as it's just a conspiracy theory. You're hysterical.
I do like the use of the semicolon. That's the very first time I've seen. This is the proper way to use a semicolon in double quotes inside the double quotes because it's the end of a sentence. So kudos to grammar.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
you're sure. I have never seen that.
You put the semicolon afterwards because
same with parentheses. You put the parentheses outside the punctuation. No, this is what my PhD English prof back in the day was really.
I thought it depends on whether it is speech or something you are highlighting.
Dialogue is a bit more flexible, but in general, the grammar
No, for dialogue, the sentence point, whether it's a period, exclamation mark, question mark, is inside the ticks.
It's
if it's just if you were highlighting something, it's outside. That's at least how I was taught it.
Well, look at the comma here above it's the sentence above. Disrupting beloved characters has a comma before that. That's correct. So whether it's a semicolon or a period.
Yeah, but that's a quote. So that is speech.
Well, it doesn't matter what exactly means. We're talking about using proper punctuation. Anyway.
But even then, I'm confused. I have to look this up again.
Right, fair
Maybe
enough.
we do it differently in German.
Possibly.
Or I had teachers that also happens.
Anyway, that's not a big deal. Fact that I never saw that in a long time. What are studios going to sexualize next? Okay, first off, why are studios even bothering to even think that way for a kids show? That's a bit weird. First off,
I thought female sexualization is bad because it's misogynistic and exploitative of the women's.
But only when it's about my fetish with women, then it's okay.
Yeah.
But
so we look. This just means we need more big titty anime lesbian hentai, and then the feminists will be happy.
I guess. I don't know. Whatever their fetish is, they're going to like because it turns them on. So therefore, representation is good for the minorities of big titty elf blonde chicks in fantasy worlds. I don't know. There's not enough of those in isekai. It's like, really? Are you sure about that? Anyway,
smart. Elf ears up or down?
I prefer them to be active, like when she's talking and they're moving, like she gets emotional. I like that when the ears are like part of her face.
So up. You mean the elf ears should be like cat ears and flapping around?
Not
until
flapping.
She starts hovering.
Not flapping, but the fact that when she gets sad, there's a distinct droop, and she gets excited, it goes up a bit. Like not too much, but just enough to know that it's movable, right? That's good.
You completely walked into the trap.
Sure. I'm okay with that.
Because the elves are wrong.
Again, this is cute. I think it's adorable. It works very well in anime and manga, especially because it has little lines showing, moving up and down. And it works for certain characters. Now, I think if you watch A Record of the Lotus War, I think they do it a few times with Deedlit.
Yeah.
Anyway. But apparently...
Watch Lotus War if you haven't. It's a classic.
Oh, yeah, the original. But apparently sex sells until you make it gay. I don't think so. We're talking about
these fucking idiots.
A show for kids. You do not sell sex to kids, buddy. That's wrong.
These people, on the one side, complain about anime. On the other side, they think that lesbian porn doesn't sell, when it is the one porn that everybody watches, men and women.
Yeah, no one's offended by girls kissing. I don't think so. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, and it is a big hentai thing as well. So I don't understand why they don't like anime then, because it gives them exactly what they want.
Unless they're trying to do some sort of weird, what's the word? It's like not a coming of age story, but it's comedic. It's like, oh, she kissed a girl. Does that mean she likes you? And da da da. What does that mean? It's like, oh, she's experimenting. No. She got confused in the dark. Da da da. Like they're playing some game. It's some comedic scene in whatever high school drama, and they could see that as gay, but that doesn't mean.
Yeah, it's just these teenage Yuri moments that just happen. It's part of puberty.
Yeah, whoop-de-doo. So she's going to try and defend it because people are attacking it because it's dumb. But it's not about Velma liking girls. It's about the show sucks. And putting this crap on top of that is even worse. So despite the obvious and sad fact that conservative commentators, I don't think I'm a conservative commentator. I just read and watch shows and books, and the tropes are obvious, are getting sexual orientation confused with sexual desire. What? Where do you think orientation comes from?
I'm lost. I zoned out for a moment.
I want to read this one more time. This is hilarious. Despite the obvious and sad fact that conservative commentators are getting sexual orientation confused with sexual desire. Now, if you guys don't know where your orientation comes from, it comes from your interest in whatever thing you're interested in. So if it's like a guy, you're a guy, then you're homosexual, right? Sexual.
Orientation comes from desire.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you don't have the desire, you don't have the orientation.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that anyone can go into a party and get drunk and just have sex with whatever, but if you don't have the desire for it, it probably won't happen.
If your libido is completely dead, you couldn't tell whether you are homo or heterosexual.
And if you're just aroused and dumb and you don't care, then you could argue you're bisexual, but that's just indiscriminate. You're just stupid.
Yeah, it's the thing where they talk about asexuality. So she's excluding the asexual concept of the left. And just for clarification, when they do talk about that, they basically lie about that condition as much as they lie about the trans thing, because asexuality is not really a thing among humans. It is rather in almost every case that's known. There has been a physiological condition found that is the cause of the low libido, because it's just a low libido. It's not a completely absent libido, it's just very low, and there's almost always a physical condition found for it. It can be a hormonal dysfunction, result of some organ being fucked up. It can be the result of depression or trauma as a psychosomatic symptom. It can be a brain tumor, a benign brain tumor pushing onto a part of the brain that then shuts it off. I think that's even 25% of cases of reported asexuality. And it is, according to Deborah Soul's book, The End of Gender. Was it The End of Gender? That is even a standard brain surgery at this point that has barely any complications at this point. It's like, yeah, just go have your brain tumor removed and you get your sex drive back. I'm looking at you, Red.
All right. Well, this is a very fascinating sentence because there's two parts of it and they're both wrong. So the first part, yes, sexual desire equates to sexual orientation. That's kind of obvious. Here's the next part. It's interesting that a fictional person revealing, or a fictional character rather, revealing that they're lesbian or queer is inherently sexual to these detractors. Okay, let's read that one.
Because it is.
Yes. So the word lesbian or queer is, in fact, a term about your orientation, which is about sex. That's what it implies.
It's about what body parts you want to rub against, what sexual body parts you want to rub against other people's sexual body parts, and which types of them. That's all it is about. So it is sexual because it is about the sex organs.
Yeah, I don't know how else to explain this. This is what the words mean. Lesbian means you're a girl into girls. Queer means you're, well, many things.
You can't be lesbian without the concept of wanting to have sex with another woman.
So yes, these terms are inherently sexual. But again, we're not detractors because we believe this. It's just this is what the words mean.
She probably lives in this weird place where, but what if it's just an emotional connection or an emotional relationship? Then you don't need to call it lesbian or anything because that's just a deep friendship. People have that all the time. It's what we call brotherly love, for example. You know the thing where with Sam and Frodo in Lord of the Rings, where they're basically going through war together and have this brotherly love that all you creepy fetishists interpret as, they're totally gay. Because you sexualize everything, you make everything about sex. You should shut the fuck up.
All right, here we go. And now she's broken her grammar rule by putting the period on the outside, the parentheses, which should be on the inside. But anyway,
yay!
And a lot of media for children and families has included sexual jokes of the straight variety, looking at you, Shrek and SpongeBob, but apparently sex sells until you make it gay. Okay.
I agree with that period. That's on. I'd say that's on the right spot.
No, it's actually incorrect, but that's fine.
No.
I'm not here to fix grammar.
You Anglos are so weird.
No, she got it right. No, she changed it. I don't care.
Yeah, but that was about quotation marks.
It's the same.
This is parentheses.
It's the same concept, whether it's parentheses or double quotes or single quotes or 2 dashes. It's you got to put the period in there. Anyway,
you put a period inside if there's an actual extra sentence that is standalone in the period.
Yeah.
But when it's an addition to the sentence,
no, it is.
Then the period is outside of it.
Looking at you, Shrek and SpongeBob is part of the sentence, so the period must end after the word, not after the parentheses. Anyway, the point here is in this sentence, or rather, this end of paragraph.
You should rather have made a semicolon.
Then that would be inside. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
and then she wouldn't have parentheses. She should have just done a semicolon again.
Anyway, she's saying that jokes which are heterosexual in nature, and I'm trying to remember Shrek and SpongeBob. Does anyone recall any heterosexual jokes that make you go, "Oh yeah, this is only for heterosexuals. Only a heterosexual person would understand this"?
I don't think so.
I don't think that exists.
Like there might be a joke about a guy and a girl. Like, because Shrek and what's her name they turn into people or ogres.
Like, Shrek is an outstanding work anyway. And the thing there is that even if you have innuendo in it, is that the kids don't get it. The adults do.
Right. That's what I meant before about having comedy that appeals to adults, even though it's a show for kids. And
even if that is in SpongeBob, it would be the same thing. The kids don't get it because it's so subtle and uses concepts that the kids can't even grasp yet. While stuff like Velma, the new thing, and many of these other shows, they are openly sexual, not subtly.
Right. So the whole point of this is that it doesn't matter if Velma's this, that, or the other thing. Is it made for a certain audience, and is it nuanced enough that the adults who care about this stuff can appreciate? It doesn't matter if it's comedy or farce or seriousness or bloody murder, whatever the nuances they're implying. Is it smart enough? Is it intelligent enough? Because you could have a show made for kids that has all kinds of crazy things happening, and you'll have one really smart sentence, one nuanced take, one word. And so with the Real Ghostbusters example, that I could check that out. I could go get my dictionary and figure that out right now, if I really wanted to. That is a level of intelligence we want from these stories, not just ham-fisting stuff in there, whatever that stuff is. It doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter what the sexuality of these characters are unless it matches the story. If it fits the story, the plot, what they're trying to do. I don't care that Velma likes petunias or first-class flights to Mexico. It doesn't have anything to do with the plot. Why are you telling me these things? All right. And I think we're almost at the end of the article. Was that a throwaway paragraph? I don't know. Despite the pushback in HBO Max's new adult-oriented cartoon Velma's sapphic journey lives on, which it never started, but okay. While some fans are understandably annoyed that this new iteration of the character voiced by Mindy Kaling has a crush on Fred, Glenn Howerton, the series does make it a point to note that she's a high schooler figuring out her sexuality. Okay, so
she's a kid.
So she's a young lady who's into a guy who's having fun at parties, I guess. I don't know. Of course, she has the hots for the conventionally attractive jock, but Velma also has a newfound crush on a lifelong female friend. You can guess which one. Okay, so
Fred is a jock?
I don't know.
I thought he's a pretty boy.
I have no idea. So they're giving her some bisexual vibes or whatever.
But so does Mindy Kaling, she's not just creating and writing the show, she's also voicing her? So it's the ultimate self-insert?
She's writer and actor. It's amazing.
Oh my god.
Having Velma come out in another part of the Scooby-Doo universe and then seemingly erasing it in another might be disappointing. I'm not following. So because she likes guys, therefore... Wait a second. If she's saying this is nuanced, like Velma likes guys and girls, then great, she's bisexual, who cares? But she's like, no, this is bad. She has to be gay. It's like, wait, why? Why does she have to be gay?
You know what part of the Scooby-Doo multiverse this is? Bizarro World. There's no Scooby. Scooby's just references that appear in the background. Shaggy is black, has a beard, is not into drugs. Velma is, I don't know what, and a horrible, unlikable person with who's pseudo-intellectual instead of actually smart. I'd say this is so everybody's the opposite of what they are.
It sounds like it's a farce, and
it's Bizarro World.
Yeah, you could do whatever you want in a farce. The problem is this person who's writing this article, doesn't like it not because she's bi, but because she's not the headcanon of being gay that she thought she should be.
Wait, Legacy writes in the chat, Whisp, Daphne is 15 years old in the show and has a whole scene of her naked in the shower with other girls fighting her. Remember how anytime a fully developed female character in anime that is not 18 is called, they call it pedophilia, but here it's fine.
Because they don't have gigantic boobs or a dragon or whatever. Yeah.
Does that make it better or worse?
It's not their fetish, therefore it's bad.
In fact, no, but I really go like Daphne in this show is pure psycho evil. Fred is he's a horrible, pampered racist. Velma is evil, and this Norville pseudo shaggy guy is like what, I don't even know what. Like everybody's the evil version of themselves, twisted. Anyone tell me, is this how Bizarro World works or not?
All right, let's keep going. But the series does lean into the character's history and queerness while also giving fans a little something else in canon that they've wanted for decades. So she's essentially saying it's better than nothing, but it's not exactly what I wanted because she's not a homosexual.
Oh, it's what fans, in quotation marks, wanted. They wanted another character to fap over.
The little niche of people who,
in their head canon,
for whatever reason, get sexually aroused by fan fiction.
My head canon needs to be actual canon, and you have to like it. It's not made for you, but you have to like it, or I'm gonna be sad and mean to you.
So here we go. This is where she loses me. With or without the haters, Velma Dinkley is a lesbian. No, you just told her in the show she's bi-curious. She likes a guy.
You said it's headcanon.
This is just, she's literally saying the evidence shows she's experimenting with her sexuality at whatever age she is, and now she's telling us no. She's actually lesbian. Like, what? I'm quite sure that's not how that works, honey. But all right. And just as real-life lesbians are used to, she's going to continually have her sexuality diminished or forgotten because the greater society can't possibly imagine a world where male... Wait. Which part of society gives a crap, aside from the people actually watching the show or know of the show?
They constantly need to be acknowledged that they're lesbians. Otherwise, they cease to exist.
Yeah, but we're talking about
have you seen the old Merlin movie? Oh, not the old one. Well, old by now.
10 years
series.
Ago, 15 years. Yeah,
yeah. Where in the end, Morgana Le Fay disappears because everyone turns her back at her and decides to forget her.
Really?
So nobody acknowledges her existence anymore. Ceases to exist. She disappears. She crumbles.
Wow.
And these women. They need constant affirmation. I'm lesbian. You need to recognize that, or I cease to exist. And
Yeah, but it has to.
Okay,
It's based
go
off.
away.
It's based the concept of where male validation and desire aren't the most important things in a woman's life.
But you said yourself that you still need that's part of the lesbian thing, that you still need the men's attention
Yeah,
and validation.
Wait.
That's your problem, yours in your head.
I could scroll
Yet
back
you
up.
blame society. It's a you problem.
I can scroll
Stop
back.
having you problems.
Yeah, but she said she wanted that in fiction, and now she's saying, no, we don't need that. You're like, what?
I think she doesn't want. She's just bad at words. She doesn't want to need that.
I
Or she
guess.
doesn't need. She doesn't want to. Yeah, she doesn't.
Maybe
want to need
she wants it in the stories, but in reality, she doesn't care because she's a strong, independent homosexual. Blah blah blah, whatever. Or
who constantly needs validation and acknowledgement that she's a lesbian. Otherwise, she ceases to be.
she wants the weekly email from her subscription to whatever show saying, "Hey, fellow lesbian, here's a show for you with lesbians."
Oh, I should set up a website where lesbians can put themselves on a mailing list, and then once a month they get a message by the bot that acknowledges their lesbian existence. and it's a subscription service for $5
And
a month.
you just have them saying you are a lesbian. Congratulations, and that's the email. That's all you do. Maybe some LGBTQ flags, make it colorful. Nice rainbow.
Yeah, maybe some
Animated
blinking
GIFs.
things.
The GeoCities animated GIFs, like a fairy. Just
Oh
sparkling.
god, yes.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. But as sure as Velma's habit for saying jinkies or not being able to see without her glasses, she's a lesbian and always has been. No, she hasn't. You crazy person. Holy hell. Where did she get off saying these lies? She admits the show where she's bi-curious, but no. In my head, she's a lesbian. Therefore, she's always been a lesbian. It's like, no, that's not how that works.
She went the whole way of first saying, yeah, there's hints at her being lesbian, and it's headcanon, and we try to push for it all the time. Then she says, oh, there's proof that it's been because of the aforementioned things, and now it's just an absolute fact that is indisputable.
All right. Well,
Salami slices. It's horrible.
Amazing.
This is how propaganda works.
all right. Oh, we got one more super chat from the Copperell half an hour ago. Thank you, sir. Real Velma only dates Johnny, Shaggy, and Whisp.
What?
I don't know if that's a thing, but thank you. What a weird article. She lies to herself, or at least that's what it sounded like. She admits that she wants validation, and at the end she doesn't.
She needs male validation, but society should not make us need that or some bullshit.
Yeah, it's strange. It's very strange. I don't mind if she likes it, but give me reasons why it's good. That's all you got to say. Don't say, "Oh, I've been waiting for this." It's like, that's fine, but why? What's the? Oh, they have to be represented. It's like, no. Why in a kids show? That's silly. Oh, but this is an adult show. Okay, then who's this for? Then you're taking a kids show. This is like what is it? What are those other shows that they made adult? Was it not She-Ra, but was it?
Damn, I wanted to say She-Ra.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, what did they make that's for kids, and now they make it for adults, or adults of nowadays. The woke
Weird adults.
The weird adults. Yeah.
Pseudo adults.
I was going to say Thundercats, but that one's just a stupid, bad, animated, weird.
Well, that was also not for kids.
I don't know what that was for. That was weird. Anyway, yeah, thanks, guys, for... who recommended this? This is really bad. This was silly.
Well, that's what we're here
I don't know,
for.
but Mateus kept pushing it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what we're here for.
anyway, thanks,
Memes.
guys, for the crazies. There's probably dozens of these people out there. Just go to marysue.com. You'll probably find one on every page. So thanks for the recommendation. Don't know where she was going with this or what argument she was going with, but didn't add up to me, sadly. So keep the suggestions coming, keep the voting going, and we'll talk to you guys real soon. Have yourself a great evening.
Memes.
Oh, crap, we got to do
Wait,
memes.
come on, memes.
Damn it.
Scratch all that. We gotta do memes first.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to memes. How many memes do we have?
Redo.
Okay.
Starting with Jean-Luc Retard.
It is Jean-Luc. Hello. Yes, I am better than you. Rick and Morty, Velma, and is that Rugrats?
It's the show that shall not be named.
Jesus. It's a cold
the
day in
pedophile
hell.
show.
It's a cold day in hell when even these shows are better than Velma somehow by default.
I'm not going to play that, but I will later.
I think it's 12 seconds.
No kid thought Shaggy was on drugs. Me at 8 years old. Drinking wine in a water glass? What is that?
Are you sure that's wine?
Could be cognac.
No, I remember what this is, Smud. Go ahead and play it. It's 12 seconds.
All
Yeah,
right.
my bet was also on cognac.
Am I glad he's frozen in there and that we're out here and that he's the sheriff and that we're frozen out here and that we're in there and I just remembered we're out here. What I want to know is where's the caveman?
What was that?
Yeah. This one's a classic.
Was that an edit?
It's a big edit, yeah.
Okay,
This
good.
one's a classic. This one's a classic meme, yes.
Okay, because that never happened in this show.
Yes. It's still funny though.
Velma's Writers. What is that?
That is Red Dwarf.
It's Red
Of course
Dwarf?
it's Red Dwarf.
It is the absolute beautiful magic that is Red Dwarf.
I hope so. 'Cause
The
that's
best science fiction show ever made.
It's too weird for me to. Oh no! Another. Oh, this is the funniest thing I ever heard Scooby-Doo say. Okay, here we go.
It's 40 seconds.
Cut that out. Oh, Shaggy Waggy, Scooby-Doo to the rescue. Did Scooby just...
Oh, yeah. Ouch! My glasses are caught in your hair.
Like it's not what you think, old pal. Velma and me were just doing a staring contest. Right, Velma?
Right.
You see? Stop it, Shaggy. I'm not stupid.
Oh, now I remember.
It's cheating? Like that is just... That's crazy talk, Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
This pretty much disproves the whole article.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship, yes.
So when was that? Like the late 90s or early 2000s? Like what is this?
This is Mystery Incorporated.
Oh, so early 2010.
Early to mid 2010s, yes.
Yeah.
It's like this again. This is one of the big things that actually started to like really hard push the Velma Shaggy relationship like directly, and then they had Scooby as the wedge between them.
Here's Hawk. After 7 hours of watching Velma, how much was unfunny cringe? 7 hours.
Yes.
Watching the Velma trailer be like, where's my goddamn HBO Max? Yeah. Goddamn
My
dog.
goddamn
where's
dog.
where's my
That's
goddamn
dog?
Where's my goddamn dog? HBO Max.
Watch this instead of Velma. So it's a little soap opera-y, but at least it's made by people who actually like the franchise. Plus, it has the Hex Girls, so that's a bonus.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. That looks just like it.
It definitely gives off it
this
immediately
is
gives off
parody
Scooby-Doo vibe. Not parody. This is actually like a more direct like homage to
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
Pretty
Because
much.
there was a really good parody made by Mexicans.
I think.
Well, this looks
That was like that was like really well written too.
pretty
And
accurate.
funny.
So I'd check this out.
Mhm.
What do we got here? Velma was always a lesbian's. The signs are there. The signs.
The signs. It's the signs. Yes.
All from the Incorporated show.
No, not all. These.
No.
No. Each one. No. Two of these are incorporated. Everything else is from different things.
Okay.
Yeah, that's also the Johnny Bravo thing.
Yeah, that's old. And then the one lower left is from the Supernatural crossover.
Oh boy! I forgot.
Hey, that was a good episode.
Velma's
That was-
getting around.
Middle left is the second movie.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones I recognize. There are a couple of that I don't remember.
For a shy, introverted nerd girl, Velma's having a lot of boyfriends.
Yeah.
Lesbians when Morbians walk in.
Yeah.
Oh, is that still a thing? Do people still make fun of that movie?
Morbid. Yeah, a little bit, but yes,
Still a thing. All right.
not as much.
Fair enough. Original Velma Netflix adaptation. Well, that's the. That's the.
Looks like
Although
a weird
although-
artist.
Although it's more accurate to say HBO Max adaptation now.
Yeah. This is the only headcanon I want.
Yes, literally.
Okay. XDDD.
Yes.
Har har. 2.6 out of 10. 1.6 out of 10.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's the IMDb scores.
Yeah, but-
it's like
The thing with Evolution, that caused Toriyama to come back and make Super, whereas with Velma, who's going to come back and do a live action? I guess a live action of Scooby-Doo. Like, I don't know. To set it back on the same path it was on before.
hopefully the people that did the live action we just saw earlier.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Velma Dinkley fictional character. What
Oh,
the
Couldn't you have put a spoiler tag on that?
what the devil am I looking at?
No.
Look, this is over sexualization because this is fetishization,
Yeah.
and it's not good.
Good
really
animated
not good.
projects, Netflix and HBO.
Mm-hmm.
Wi-Fi drops by 1 bar. The video's quality. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you go play with the neighbor's kids? The neighbor's kids.
No.
Oh dear.
There it is.
Velma's son, Frederick Rufus Fred Rogers Dinkley. Velma's son was Shaggy Rogers, named after Fred Jones and Rufus Dinkley, as seen in the final volume of Scooby Apocalypse. Cool.
From what I've heard, that's a really good comic.
How old is that? That must be at least 30, 40 years old.
No, that's Scooby Apocalypse is a bit more recent. At least after the 2010s, I think. At least.
All right. Scooby-Doo AI generated and shows you what you can do with vision and time. Hey, that's not
That
bad.
looks okay. Yeah, that looks okay.
Velma's,
We know what happened to the dog.
Yeah, Velma's looking really fine. Holy jeez. Laying her hair down.
Woo. And, well, I guess we know what happened to Scooby now.
Scooby's like eaten alive.
No! Butchered by Jason, apparently. If that machete's anything to go by.
Alrighty. Well, that's enough Velma and Scooby-Doo for me for one night. Thanks, guys. Strange article. But, yeah, don't read the Daily Beast. They just, well, maybe there's some good articles on there, but if this is the example, don't bother. Anyway, thank you for the recommendation. Whoever the devil recommended it, that was different for us. But
I don't even want to know.
yeah. So keep the suggestions coming. Again, they can also be a blog post, a video. We don't care. We'll cover it if it gets voted on. Have yourself a great evening. We'll talk to you real soon. Good night, everyone.
Yes, goodbye for real this time.
Really? We're going to do it this time. Okay.